What up? What up? What up? What up? What up, y'all? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Back again. Another day. It's your boy, the Curtis York. And if you're new here, welcome to the channel. If you are a citizen of Yorktown, then welcome back. It's good to have you. As always, we love you. We love you. We love you. We love you. We appreciate you for stopping by, checking out the town where it's currently going down. And I need to update my ticker because right now we're sitting at a smooth 439, which means we are 61 subscribers away from 500. We are walking down that good 500. So we're going to get there when we get there. It is a marathon, not a sprint. You know what I mean? So we're going to cross that bridge. When we cross that bridge, let me turn off the TV. But what I want to talk to y'all tonight about is how I went from zero to $100,000 in 4 years. I'm gonna share it with you. Now, obviously, there's a lot of disclaimers, there's a lot of addendums, and there's a lot of stuff that's gonna go into the story. So just be patient. And if you have any questions or anything like that, don't hesitate to ask. We're gonna answer them. I know for a lot of people, 100,000 ain't that much. And if somebody told me that, I would 100% agree. 100,000 isn't that much, but at the same time, a lot of people don't make that. So I'm not going to sit here and turn my nose up either, because that's it's different money, and we're gonna get into it. So without further ado, let me tell you. So when I started, when I started, I'm gonna have to set the scene for you. So in 2020, I started the year off with no car and no job and a bunch of couches to sleep on. I was just couch surfing, you know what I'm saying? I went to stay with my mom for a while, and that didn't work out. So I was couch surfing with my uncles and whatnot. So your boy had nothing. I was just walking from place to place to place. No job, no car, no nothing. Mind you, I had a son who at the time, let's see, 2028, 765, 4 or 5 years old, young. And it's so crazy because on the flip side, in 2019, I had my own spot. I had just graduated with my master's degree, thinking that I'm on the top of the world. But the crazy thing is, the week after I graduated with my MBA, I walked across the stage, I got evicted, and I had to move out. So that was in June of 2019. So, what I'm saying, walking into my birthday and all that stuff, your boy was living back with my mom for a minute. Situation was crazy. I didn't have any income. At the time, I was working for an investment fund, and it was slowing down because, COVID wasn't here yet, but the market was just rumbling. It was hard to find deals. It was hard to source things. So the business was slowing down, and it was so crazy because, coming from moving around and willing and dealing and having access to money to, having to humble myself and go back home and start over was crazy. You know what I'm saying? So that's how my 2019 ended. 2020, the first week, I want to say New Year's Day, my car got repossessed. And it wasn't my car. I was actually borrowing my homeboy's car, and the car got repossessed. And I was at the grocery store for whatever. Well, obviously, I'm at the grocery store to get groceries. So I'm at the grocery store. I walk out the grocery store, and I hear an alarm going off, and I'm like, man, somebody's having a real bad day. And I look up, and I can't find my car. I look at the street, and I see my car is on the back of the tow truck. Now, mind you, it's not my car. It's my homeboy's car that he's letting me borrow so I can get around from point A to B. So, what I'm saying? I look up, and, now I'm chasing after the car. I'm like, all right, if I lose the car, cool. I at least need to get my MacBook and my book bag and stuff out of the car, and I'll be straight. The driver wouldn't let me get my stuff. He drove off. So it's like now I don't have a MacBook, I don't have a car. And, when I finally did get to the lot and everything to try to get my car, they had already cleaned everything out. My MacBook's gone. So I don't have a computer now. I don't have a car. I basically don't have anything other than my cell phone to maneuver. So your boy is hurting, man. And, let me go ahead on and tell you now, spoiler alert, this isn't one of those scammy videos where I'm about to try to sell you something or, what I'm saying, tell you that I did a whole bunch of Bitcoin and whatever the case may be. I didn't do none of that. I did not. I didn't do any of that. That's not what happened. I didn't magically come across a deal out of the blue and then everything was sweet. Nah, man, I legitimately had to get it out of the mud. But we're gonna talk about it. So, you know, um, like I said, I'm back home with my people, but I'm not really living. Well, I'm couch surfing. Ends up, I end up having to move with one of my uncles. I only got boxes of stuff. I had a storage unit. I couldn't afford to pay for my storage unit. It was only like $250, but I didn't have that. So I lost my storage unit. Your boy had nothing. I was literally at negatives at the time. Like I didn't even have $0. Like, The Rock tells that story about how he had $7 and he had to start over with $7. I didn't even have $7. I had like negative 750 or something like that. So your boy was starting in the hole with absolutely nothing. But in 4 years, I was able to turn all of that around. So let me tell you what happened. So, luckily, I was working. Well, I wasn't working. Um, in high school, I knew a guy who ended up being the manager of Food Lion. And shout out to him, man. The local Food Lion in Bishopville. Shout out to him, man, because he really, what I'm saying, put me in a much better position because your boy was really, really messed up. I didn't have a car, I didn't have a computer, I didn't have anything. What I'm saying? And I had the opportunity to either go back and work at my alma mater, which was in the next town over, or I could work at Food Lion. And I was like, well, if I work at my alma mater, I don't have a car, which means I'd be dependent on other people. And then, what I'm saying, it's embarrassing, having to bum rides and stuff. So, man, I'm telling you, like it was just a blessing that I knew the the manager of Food Lion and he looked out heavy. Like he, what I'm saying, put me on, he got me the job. And from there, what I'm saying, he was like, I'm gonna give you a little bit more than minimum wage because, he was like, I know you got a kid and you got an MBA and all that stuff. Like, I'm gonna look out for you. So he gave me like 11.15 or something like that. Which now it sounds crazy, but back then 11.15 was amazing because I didn't have anything. I lost everything. Like I had to start over from scratch. Like I keep this as a reminder. Like your boy was really at Food Lion. We got some people on Instagram. My dog Khalif. Khalif was there. Like he was there. Like I literally had nothing. Like I was hurting, bro. Just hopping from couch to couch, man. Like I was doing horrible. So, what I'm saying, he looked out heavy and he got me the job at Food Lion. And so, I was working there, but at the time I was living with I ended up living with another one of my uncles because my uncle, he looked out heavy, but he just had a lot of stuff going on in his house. And so, he was like, I love you, but we just got to move some things around. So I ended up living with my other uncle, and I love him to death, man. But it was a crazy situation. Like I won't go into detail, but it was a crazy situation. So I'm living with him, and what I'm saying, I got to pay rent, which which is so crazy, but it is what it is. Like mind you, I'm making like 11.15, so I'm paying him rent. Um, at first it was like 100, but it's like, it was like every month, every 2 weeks or so, he would go up on the rent until we hit like $500. Now, mind you, I'm making 11.15. So by the time I get the $500, if I'm paying him that a month, like I'm not making any money. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just working. Like whenever somebody will call out, let me get them hours. Like whatever we got to do. Like I'm just working all the time. Like that's all I had to do. Like again, I didn't have a laptop. I didn't have, all I had was my phone. And then granted, the pandemic was just starting. Well, no, yeah, when I first started, because I started at Food Lion in February. So the pandemic hit in March. And I started on Valentine's Day, like 2 weeks in Valentine's Day. So when I got my first paycheck, the pandemic hit. So now I'm figuring like, well, damn, are they gonna close Food Lion down? It's like we only got two grocery stores, so they're not gonna close it down. So I'm working at Food Lion, whatever money I make, I save it. I'm always working. I'm not taking no days off because I don't have a car. I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have anything to do but work. So, I can honestly say looking back at 2020, like it was chaotic and it was crazy because it was just so far out there. But at the same time, like it was really peaceful because all I had to do was walk to work, walk to the gym, and walk home. Like that's it. That's all I had to do. It was the pandemic. You couldn't go anywhere. I didn't have a car, so I couldn't go anywhere anyway. So I was just walking to work, walking to the gym, and walking back to my uncle's house. And I was in the best shape of my life because that's all I did, work out, go to the gym, walk to work, walk to work. If it was raining, walk to work. If it was cold, walk to work. Like no matter what, I was walking to work because that was like the little bit of ownership I had. Like I didn't have to wait on nobody. I didn't have to depend on nobody. I had to just get on Peter and Paul and walk to work, bro, and I was good. So I'm stacking up. Not telling my uncle when I get like I got a stimulus check. I told him it got lost or something like that. Forgive me for lying, but I told him it got lost because I knew if he found out I had a stimulus check, he would have wanted it. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't say anything about my stimulus check, and so I'm just working, 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 and stacking. You know what I'm saying? Again, 11.15, and I'm paying gradually, like every month. I think it was either every 2 weeks or every month he would go up on the rent. I can't remember exactly what it was, but just know he stopped at $500 and I was making 11.15. But I'm working crazy. Like I was full time and they wasn't trying to give me overtime because when you do overtime, you get bonuses. So I was working constantly, but they were trying to keep me from getting overtime. And so, I was just working as much as I could. So from there, I'm stacking, I'm saving, I'm saving, I'm saving. And then one day it hit me. This was around my birthday in July. Now mind you, you know, at this time I don't have a car. I'm not trying to mess with nobody at home or nothing like that. So your boy is just locked in, focused. So around my birthday, July, um, something just hit on me like, yo, you taught for X amount of years, check your 401k. You could retire, So I ended up looking at my 401k. And this, I always say, what you do yesterday determines what happens today. And what you do today determines what happens tomorrow. So, I've been working for this investment firm from 2017 to 2019. Yeah, right up until things died down. So I looked in my 401k and I had um, it wasn't that much. It was under $10,000, but it was just a lump sum. So whatever the amount was, I I don't remember, and I don't want to lie, but it was somewhere between $5,000 and $8,000. I don't know, but once they taxed it, I didn't get the full amount. So I just took all the money out my 401k. I added it along to what I saved. So from there, I bought a car, right? So now I'm not walking anymore. Well, hold on, let me backtrack real quick. So before I bought a car, God bless my grandparents, man. R.I.P. to my grandma and my grandpa. So, well, my grandpa's still alive, not R.I.P. to him. But my grandparents said that once you get your money up and you can afford insurance and taxes and all that stuff, we got a car you could get. So, I saved up, I stacked my little money, I got the car, and I'm like, yo, I'm good. So that car took me from their house to about 10 miles up the road, and the car stopped. The car just broke down. So I'm like, man, what's going on with the car? Turns out that the motor blew in the car. And it's like, at first my granddad was like, and again, I love my granddad to death. I just went to visit him the other day. Check out that video if you haven't, me visiting my grandpa. But he was just like, yo, man, why were you speeding? You blew the motor. And I'm like, I wasn't speeding. The motor was bad. Like there was nothing that I did. So, we called a third party mechanic. He came over and looked and he was like, yeah, that motor was gonna go out anytime. Like there was nothing. He could have he wasn't speed that that motor was just bad. So, my granddad was like, all right, he was like, I hope you get another car, whatever the case may be. So now I got to start over from scratch. Then I got into my 401k and all that. So I took that after I had to bounce back from taking that L. I bought another car, and my car was nothing fancy. If you seen it, I had to post a picture of it somewhere. My car, it's on my Instagram somewhere. Um, it was a orange Chevy Cobalt, but the hood was black. It's like some it looks like they replaced the hood or whatever the case may be, but the car was in decent condition, you know what I'm saying? It got me from point A to B, which is what I needed. So, now I got a car and now I'm moving back and forth. I can drive to work. And so, I got my money stacked up and saved. I don't say anything to anybody at all. Like I don't tell nobody. I got this money stacked up, and then I got my 401k money. So I took that money and I put it together after I bought the car, whatever I had left, and I was like, yo, I'm going to Charlotte. So I gave them my 2 weeks notice at Food Lion, and I told them, I'd be leaving the first week of August. No, the first week of September, Labor Day weekend. Labor Day weekend, I'm turning in my 2 weeks notice. I'm moving to Charlotte. So I hit up my cousin Keenan, man. Shout out to him. He looked out so heavy, man. So I packed up all my little pallets because at the time I had plastic crates. The same plastic crates that I use to store my office supplies and stuff now. Like I had my clothes and stuff in there. Now, mind you, I only had like 5 or 6 outfits because again, I didn't have any money. All of my stuff got lost in a storage facility that I couldn't afford to pay, and my I got evicted. So I started from nothing. I can't express that enough. Like I literally had plastic crates from Walmart with all of my stuff, all of my possessions. I think I might have had 1 or 2 pairs of sneakers, maybe, and one of them was Walmart shoes that I wore to work, slip resistant shoes, because I was in the back cutting meat and stocking the meat department. So pause. So that's what I was doing. Anyways, moving forward, I packed up all my little stuff in a 2-seater, not a 2-seat, a 2-door car, uh, and drove to Charlotte and stayed with my cousin for about a month. Now that month I stayed with and with him, I had a pretty good time. I ain't even gonna lie. Like I went to New York. It was the pandemic, so it wasn't that crazy. Like I was just living off of my savings. And that was September, October. I ended up moving out at the end of November, right before Thanksgiving or right after Thanksgiving. I moved out and I moved in with another one of my cousins, just trying to get on my feet. Now, mind you, from September to November, I didn't have a job. I was just living off savings. The rest of my money, just living off savings, staying cheap, trying not to spend too much bread, just living off my savings. So from there, I ended up having to leave. I moved with another one of my cousins. That only worked out for about 2 weeks. And then I ended up moving with my guy, Frog. And shout out to Frog, man. Frog is another lifesaver, man. As long as I live, if my brother Frog needs anything, man, I got him because he looked out heavy. So he let me move in with him. Now, at the time, I finally did get a job, and I started the first week of December. I started the first week of December, but I ended up catching COVID, so I couldn't officially start working until the second week because I had the quarantine and all that stuff. So which is why I had to leave with my other cousin. I had COVID and everybody was still scared of COVID at the time. So I ended up having to go somewhere else. So I moved in with Frog, had to miss a week of work because of COVID, but they weren't tripping about it. Now, TQL, I was working at TQL, which was a logistics company, basically trucks, transports, and stuff. So first job I got in Charlotte, TQL. Now I went from 0 to 11.15. Now at TQL, I was making $35,000. So what I'm saying. Now it's like, all right, we're moving up. Now I'm all right. Like it's just I'm living with somebody else, and we're splitting the bill, so I'm able to stack my bread a little bit and relax. Um, January is also when I met my wife. 2020, we started chopping it and kicking it and everything. And then I was working at TQL, but while I was working at TQL, I was trying to get on at another job. Which I'd never told them that I was working there, and I never really put it on my resume because I didn't really see the need. You know, Sorry, I never put Food Line on my resume either. Sorry, but so I ended up working at TQL, and I ended up being there for a month. But the month that I was there, like my stats were phenomenal. It was a call center, and I was working for an investment firm where I had to cold call people for probates. And if you don't know what probate is, long story, probate is basically when somebody dies and they leave their property to, they don't really leave their property to anybody in particular. So it goes to probate court where the court decides how the property gets split up and all that stuff, or who's the next of kin and all that good stuff. So I was cold calling these people asking if they wanted to sell their house. And when you do that, you got to understand it's a very trying situation. People are grieving, people are going through a lot, but the happy ending is, if they say yes and the deal goes through, they get paid a lump sum of money. So, you know, going from that cold calling that to calling somebody that actually is looking for work, I was killing it. Like my numbers were so high. Like I had a meeting with one of the big dogs there, and his name was John Cadane, and he was like $1 million earner at the company at the time. And I was like, man, I just want to talk to you, And at first he was like, oh yeah, I don't take that kid seriously. But he looked at my numbers and he saw my stats. Like I was number one for like 3 weeks in a row, and it wasn't even close. Like, what I'm saying? Other people were making like 200 to 300 calls a week. What I'm saying? I was making like 1,000 calls a week, just turning and burning. And my percentages were extremely high. I was like batting 85%. Like if I got somebody on the phone, I could get it done. But that's because I had a lot of sales training and I had a lot of negotiation skills and a lot of background in that. So, like I said, I was making like 1,000 calls a week and I was like 85%. So the big dog was like, yo, I give you 5 minutes. You can ask me whatever you want. You can talk to me. So, we chopped it up for a little bit. And, had I stayed there, I probably would have did very well. But I had some other stuff that happened. And then at the same time, I was looking at another job. I was trying to get into commercial real estate at the time because I was doing residential for all that time. So I wanted to move up. I wanted to try commercial. So like the second week of July, the company finally called me. Now, mind you, I applied to them in October. And November, they wasn't paying me no attention. December, they wasn't paying me no attention. January finally rolled around. It was like, you know what? We'll bring you on. And so, we can give you $50,000. So I went from 35 to 50 in 2 months. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I gotta go. I got to. I just can't turn that down. Now, granted, TQL was commission once you hit a certain cap, but it's like, right now I'm on a mission. I need to get my bread up. So, I took the 55. I was working there, and the thing was, based on my background and experience, they were gonna give me a promotion, and 3 months pending a review, 90 days. So 90 days rolled around. I didn't get my promotion. I didn't get a performance review, nothing at all. It was just crickets. So I'm like, all right, I need to kind of know something. Like, I was told one thing, I got an MBA, granted, I'm humble, I'm patient, but, you know, I fulfill my end of the bargain, I'm not getting anything. So, they kept saying, we'll give you a performance review, we'll give you a performance review. So um, the guy that looked out for me, and we're still friends to this day, I appreciate him so much. He ended up going to a different team, and they put me under somebody else that, he was cool, but it just wasn't the same. And so, from there, I was like, all right, I feel like I'm gonna get the runaround. So I need to start seeing what else is out there. So I finally get my performance review that I was supposed to get in 90 days. I finally got it in July. Mind you, I started in January. So, I finally get my performance review in July. Um, 6 months down the line, 6, 7 months, later on, the week after my freaking birthday. And so I get my performance review, and they decided to use one mistake that I made the week before I got my performance review. And that's why they didn't give me a promotion, because of a mistake that I made the week before my performance review. Now, granted, the whole 6 months, right up until that one week, everything was smooth, effective, and on point. But that one week, that one mistake, they used it against me, and they didn't give me my promotion. So I'm like, all right, cool. It's time for me to go. It's been time for me to go because they didn't hold their end of the bargain. But, I said I'll be patient, I'll wait, because I already jumped a tax bracket. So I'm good. I'm cool. So, when that happened, I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm not doing this no more. I start putting out feelers, looking around. I get another opportunity to work for another hedge fund. And this one was hybrid. So I do some days at home, I do some days in the field, and it paid 75. So now I'm sitting at 75. I At this point, I'm just jumping tax brackets. I went from 1115, then I went to 30, I think it was 35. Yeah, 35. Then I went to 7. It was 70. It was 7. It was 70. It was 70 at that job because no, it was 50. It was 50. I'm sorry. When I was working at the third job after I left TQL, I was making $50,000 because the next job I went to, they offered me 75 and they gave me the manager position that I wanted, and it was hybrid. So um, now I'm making 75. And I remember, I went back to the company that I was with and I told them, like, I got the offer from this other job. They're offering me a management position and they're paying me $75,000. It's a big jump. At this time, I think Tommy was pregnant. No, Tommy wasn't pregnant at this time. So, still childless. Well, Coy, obviously, but still one child household. Jumped from 50,000. Yeah, it was 50,000 because when I told them that the next job would be paying me 75, they said that they wanted to negotiate to try to keep me. I'm like, all right, cool. I want a management position and I want, you know, at least make it reasonable. Like I don't have to take the 75. Like I'm not trying to be greedy because I really want to stay. I don't want to learn a new process. I don't want to go somewhere else and start all the way over. Make me a manager and come somewhere close to 75. Cause it's like I know I'm worth 75. So at the very least, if you could do 65, if you could do, you know, anywhere close to that 75 range, then I'll stay. You know, they were like, we can't make you a manager, and the most we could do, we can give you a raise though. The most we could do is $5,000, y'all. So they were like, "Yo, man, we'll give you 55,000." That's how I know it was 50,000 because they were like, "We'll give you 55,000. You won't get a raise, but we'll give you a review in a couple months." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that again." So it was like, I appreciate it. He looked out. And like I said, one of the managers, we're still cool. We talk to this day. But, I got an offer for 75 and y'all saying the best y'all could do is 50. I'm cool. I mean 55. I'm like, I'm cool. So I go to the other job and now I'm making 75. And, everything's cool. The only thing I don't like about this job, which, like I said, it's hybrid, but it's not an office. I'm driving around the state. So it was another hedge fund. And what happened is, we had properties. Like if you look in the news and you type in Wall Street landlords, what you'll see is a lot of these hedge funds that are buying houses, or if you live in a rental house, you'll probably be renting from one of these companies like let's see, you got Avenue One, you got Main Street Renewal, Progress Residential, Tricon, Conrex, all of these big hedge funds that are buying up all the properties, which is why there isn't that much affordable housing out there right now because they're buying up all the houses. So yeah, I was working for them, but the thing was I was driving around all over, North Carolina, which was cool because it was allowing me to learn the state and I enjoyed that. But at the same time, it was wear and tear on my car. Like, and at the time I still had my little car, like my beater, my A to B car. Um, but they did give us gas cars and they did give us maintenance cars. So I ended up having to buy a new transmission, I want to say, for the car. And the company paid for it because I used the car, to go mobile. But my issue with that company was it was a newer company. They were still learning, they were still growing. And we had a lot of subcontractors that did the work. And my issue was that the subcontractors, like the company, they were like bearing down on us. We had to be on point with everything, documentation, our management style, our meeting. I had everything laid out, I had everything scheduled, but my issue was I had a vendor who just wasn't performing. And which isn't an issue because in any company you're always going to have vendors, especially in construction. You're going to have vendors that perform. It's hit or miss. They move at their own pace, they move at their own feet, they do what they do, and it's cool. It is what it is. But, it's like we were giving special privileges to certain vendors over other vendors. So you have one vendor that because he did good last year, this year it's like we're gonna let him slide. And that's fine. I get it, I understand. But the thing is, if I'm gonna be held responsible for it and it's affecting my numbers and he gets away scot-free, but my numbers are looking bad because we're giving him breaks and stuff, then I got an issue because now it's affecting my bonuses, it's affecting my performance. And at this point, because it's been going on, I stayed there for a year. It's like, you know just one vendor is just killing my numbers and there's nothing that we can do. I'm documenting everything, I'm having meetings, I'm complaining, I'm screaming. And it's like, no matter what, it's just, well, we can't do anything to him. It's like that's just the vendor. So I'm like, all right, it's time, I got to do something different. So, I just started putting feelers out there and I ended up working. I moved to my last job, which was a custom home builder for homes here in Charlotte. And this one was 95 plus bonuses. The bonuses put me over to the six-figure mark. So this was, now mind you, all of this was, like I said, 4 years from 2020, yeah, 2020, from 2020 to 2023. It's like boom, 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 boom. So got the last joint and I was making 95 plus bonuses, which pushed me over to the six-figure mark, and it was cool. But then things started going wrong and I ended up getting laid off. Yeah. So that's pretty much what I did in a super condensed version. Like obviously I'm leaving out a lot of details. I'm leaving out a lot of you know, minute things that happened throughout the process, but that's what happened. So now, with that being said, let's talk about the good things that happened. And of course, like I said, if you got any question or you want to chime in, by all means do so. Now, the good things about what I did, the way that I did, and making that kind of money. Obviously, making that kind of money is very cool. Um, yeah, it's like that you're considered to be a high earner. Now, granted, in today's market, well, I'll say that for later. So yeah, I was able to grow really fast. I learned a lot of different skills. I met a lot of people, networks, relationships with people that I'm still cool with to this day. Like we talk often, we exchange books, we do 75 hard together. So I met a lot of good people. My wife, I had to give her credit. She helped out a lot, just being supportive and holding it down, making more money. It made me feel a little more comfortable to have more kids. So I think that was good. Um, got a lot of stability. Oh man, we got Tara in the chat. How's it going, Tara? Tara, man. I rock with Tara heavy, man. Tara is into um what do you call them? Replica um locomotives. And that is so cool, man. Miniature locomotives. I think that is so cool. That's a cool hobby, man. We need to bring back hobbies. I think people are losing sight of cool hobbies, man. I'm good. Thank you for asking. Like when I think of the miniature locomotives and the toy figures, I always think about those old commercials that used to come on Cartoon Network. I can't think of the name of the company, but they used to have like the whole set and everything. And those infomercials, man. If you old enough to remember infomercials, then shout out to you, man. I know I have a lot of younger subscribers, but the infomercials, man, you had to be there. Like they really made you want the full train set. And then I was telling her, I also think about the Sopranos, that episode Blue Comet where Bobby was going to the toy locomotive store and they ended up clipping him. But yeah, I'm not gonna go on another tangent. But another good thing about the way that I did things was I was able to move to a new city. Like I just packed up and went to Charlotte. I'm like, I'm going to Charlotte because I know in North Carolina and Charlotte specifically, there's a whole lot more opportunity. And then I'm 44. I remember infomercials. Miss Cleo was big before she got, hey, call me now. Miss Cleo, man. There's a documentary on Max about Miss Cleo. It was pretty fascinating. But yeah, man, them doggone infomercials was something crazy, man. You're 44. Wow. Yeah, you had a birthday recently. Happy birthday again. Shout out to Tyra. But I was able to move to Charlotte, start over, clean slate. I always wanted to get into commercial real estate. I was able to get into commercial real estate. So that was really cool. And then travel. I was able, with a couple of my jobs, I was able to travel. Um, one of them I went to Indiana, which was pretty cool. I went to Tampa, Florida, Greenville, South Carolina, which was I go to Greenville all the time, so that wasn't like remarkable, but it was on the company dollar, so that was cool. I enjoyed traveling through companies. I was supposed to go to Nashville, Tennessee, with one of the companies, but our baby was being born, and I just really didn't feel comfortable being out of state with that. And then, making that kind of money, we did a lot of personal traveling too. So we went to New York. Um, we went to Clearwater Beach, which is a section of Tampa, Florida. Um, I had a layover in Chicago for a while one time. Just a lot of traveling. We were able to go to New Jersey and stuff and travel a lot more because of the money. I was also able to buy a new vehicle, the truck, which ironically the truck is in the shop now because the transmission is bad, but we got a warranty on the truck, so we got to let them do what they do. But just making six figures, it's cool. At the time, I didn't really feel comfortable telling people that I was making six figures, just because I know, just you know, it's weird talking about money with people. But now I'm unemployed, so I could say, yeah, at that time I was making six figures. Because who knows, the next job I take, I might have to take a pay cut. I don't know. We'll see. But so those were a lot of the good things. Now, I would be lying if I didn't tell y'all like there was definitely some bad things about the way that I did what I did, just leaving jobs and jumping ship so fast. For me personally, there were a lot of W-2s, so my taxes was crazy. And then you file differently. Like once you hit different tax brackets, they take more money out, which, you think just because you make a lot of money, you make a lot of money. But what you don't understand is they tax the mess out of you. Like I remember when I first started making the six figures, I looked at my check and it's crazy because I actually brought home not too far. Like I brought home more money than I did when I was making 75. But it wasn't that much more. Like I thought it would have been life changing money. Now, granted, I've made it before, but it was different times and a totally different economy. So I'm like, yeah, consistent six figures. Oh, we good. Y'all, when I got that first paycheck, I was like, what in the world? Like, like they took so much money out in the taxes, it was crazy. So, when you hear rich people complaining about taxes and you think, oh, they got it, it ain't that big of a deal. Y'all don't understand. Like, the more you make, the more they take. And that's not people exaggerating, that's not people being facetious. That is the truth. They tax the mess out of you. I was so sick, man. Like, I'm like, we good now. We live comfortable. We got that. I saw that first check, man, and I was like, wow. It was crazy. Like, and it's so weird because people think that you have money, and yeah, on paper you do have money, but once them taxes come out, bro, it's like, ooh, it was unbelievable, man. So I would say that was definitely something bad. That's something that, luckily I had people around me that were making that money, so they prepared me. So when it happened, you know, I was disappointed, but I wasn't completely taken off guard when it happened. So I definitely say that, just make sure you get your taxes straight when you get there. Cause if you in Yorktown, you gonna make six figures. Cause I'm gonna help you get there. I'm gonna make sure, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna figure it out. But yeah, man. So that another negative I say of job hopping so much the way that I did was you deal with a lot of different personalities, man. It's like you learn a lot of different systems. You deal with a lot of new personalities. Every company should have policies and procedures. If they don't, then that's a red flag. You need to know what you're getting into. I would definitely encourage you to check. Like that's something else I learned, but I'll get to that in a second. But it's so many different personalities, man. It's like you always have to be on point. You always have to play chess. You always have to be strategic. You never really get too attached to people because like at the drop of a dime, you'll go somewhere else. And then you also have to keep in mind that, people are always expecting you to leave, or, you kind of build a stigma on yourself when you job hop as much as I did. So I would definitely say that that's a negative. In this one, I won't really say it's a negative. It depends on where you are mentally, but you're always learning. Again, when you switch jobs at the pace that I did, then you're learning new policies, you're learning new procedures, you're learning new systems, you're learning new people. It's just like you're constantly learning. And then the other piece that I don't think that I harped on enough, I do have to, say that I had my MBA. That definitely helped out. You know, the MBA opened a lot of doors. And while I'm going through all of these jobs, I'm getting certifications as well. So, I went and got, hey, how's it going, Ty? I went and got my certification to do home inspections. I'm currently in the process of getting my OSHA 30 right now. And then I got like two or three other certifications that I'm working on now. So, the thing about when you jump tax brackets and you make a lot of money and you switch a lot of jobs, then you always have to be learning. That's what keeps you marketable. Because I had an interview the other day and they asked, like, I saw you job hop so much, what's up with that? And you got to be able to answer that question. Now granted, I'm really good with people. So I just told the truth. At the time, I was focused on growing. My family was growing. I needed more money. I had opportunities that were available. And honestly, me being able to transition and jump through so many jobs, it's really a positive more than a negative. And the reason that it's a positive is because it shows that I'm highly marketable and I'm highly skilled at what I do. Otherwise, people wouldn't want me. Now granted, my times there was short. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. And then she laughed, but I'm like, it's just if an opportunity presents itself, I'm going to take it. Now, granted, my circumstances have changed because I need a little bit more stability because I have a bigger family now. And so, my next move, I want to stay there, which I wasn't just BS. And I really would, if I do get another job, I would definitely want somewhere with security and stability, somewhere that I could plant my feet and stay for a while and grow. Just because, I'd rather do that. And even if it means taking a pay cut and I don't get back to where I was before, I'm good with that. because now my game plan is different. So I would say those would be the kind of bad things. Now the ugly things. I already talked about the taxes. I was saving that for last, but those taxes were so real, man. I couldn't even wait. Like those taxes are a beast, man. Like do your do your man, be on point with your taxes. Like that's no joke. So lifestyle creep is real. I was talking to one of my friends today who also works in corporate America, and he was just saying, he keeps his overhead low. And I'm like, I respect that. That's so dope, man, because the minute I started making more money, I started popping out kids. So that stuff, it adds up because now you got to buy more groceries because you got more mouths to feed. You got to buy a bigger vehicle because you got to be able to move everybody from point A to point B. You know, Mind you, in this time, since I've lived in Charlotte, I moved here in 2019. I have moved every year since I've been here. We lived with my boy Frog, and then we got a spot together, me and my wife. So we lived together in a two-bedroom apartment, and um, we stayed there for a year. And we probably could have stayed there longer, but the issue was, number one, it was a two-bedroom. Um, Number two, it was kind of cramped up, and number three, they were raising the rent. So it's like, for the rent that they were charging us, we was like, we could just get a crib. If we're gonna be paying all this for rent, and granted, it was a nice apartment, don't get me wrong, but it's like, for all this money that we're paying, we could get a house and at least have some space. So we moved from the apartment and we got a house, and the house. Hey, we got my boy Jay in the building. What's going on, man? I'm just sharing the story, man. How I went from zero to freaking six figures, and now we back to zero. So yeah, man, we just chopping it up, just talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's funny, man, because I remember you told me, when you start making certain money, you think that you good bread wise, and it's like that ain't really what it's like. And I remember we had the conversation, and I'm like, bruh, you must not be spending your money right. Like, it's no way that you making six figures, and what I'm saying, you still complaining about money. And then I got that first paycheck, y'all. And I'm telling you, I was like, I get it. Like, I had to humble myself and apologize because it's like, I get it. Like, nah, it don't matter what you do, which leads to another one of the ugly things, which, of course, you have lifestyle creep, but also freaking inflation, man. Like, don't let them people fool you with today's post talking about the stock market was at an all-time high. If you're not investing in stocks, that don't affect you. What else is at an all-time high? Eggs, gas. Well, gas is fairly reasonable right now. I'll be honest. Gas is fairly reasonable, but eggs, bread, freaking turkey bacon. Yo, I paid like $8 for turkey bacon the other day. Like, inflation is high. Like, I don't care what nobody says. I don't care what they tell you. Inflation is high. I saw something, I think today, that that house people buying houses was at an all-time low, like last year. So, it's like, you could do everything right and you still feel the burn because the economy right now is not your friend. Like, if you Google six-figure earners, then what you'll see is a lot of six-figure earners are living paycheck to paycheck. And people try to make it seem like, oh, if you make six figures and you live in paycheck to paycheck, then you just bad with money. And that's not always the case, y'all. Like, I'm telling y'all, like, that money does not go as far as people think that it does. Like, people, like, I look on YouTube and like the shorts and Instagram and stuff. And I don't even be on Instagram as much as I do because I just get tired of looking at this stuff, man. But you'll see the little lady, they have this little interview culture now where they just interview people on the street, and they'll ask these women, like, what does a man have to date you? And the first thing that they say is six figures. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, bruh, number one, six figures is not enough. Number two, six figures don't go as far as you think it does. Number three, the type of six figures that you want from a guy, it's only like 3% or less that make that. Because to be comfortable, you need at least 250 to $300,000. You know what I'm saying? If you are a dual income with no kids, maybe 130, 140. But after taxes, let me give y'all context. So let me backtrack and talk about taxes again. Y'all, as you can tell, I'm taxes ain't my friend. But you know what I'm saying? I was looking at the inflation rate the other day, and if you make $100,000, what you actually bring home is $70,000. So in order to truly make $100,000, you need to make $130,000, because after taxes, you'll officially be at $100,000. And people, they hear those numbers and they just think that it doesn't apply to them. Let me see. I cut back on bread, thank goodness. Yes, bread is freaking high right now, bread. Like, like it's crazy. And my family like bagels, man. So not only do we get bread, we gotta get the bagels. And then my wife, she just likes the Italian bread and the what are those long breads that used to be in the Scooby Doo movie, the sub bread. Like my wife like that stuff, so she likes the fancy bread. So, bruh, we just yeah. So inflation is nasty. I need the eggs for when I go kickboxing, to go to my kickboxing, the protein, but they are expensive. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like people think when you make six figures, you just finally made it and you there. Like no, inflation is tearing you up still. So yeah, man, that's definitely something that's ugly, and I don't think enough people talk about it. Um, but yeah, flex culture is real. People just act like they bred it out and they just have all this money, but bruh, it ain't what people make it out to be, and it ain't what you think. It's not. I promise you. I've been to the promised land. I seen it firsthand. I was there, and it ain't all that, y'all. I'm telling you. Me too. Bagels are the exception for me. Sourdough and rye too, but due to price, yeah, man, it is, bro. Like, bro, why does bread cost so much? Like, I remember when my wife and I first started dating, she used to always try to make me go to Aldi's, and I'm like, I don't want to go no doggone Aldi's. Like, let's go to Food Line or something. Now, mind you, I was working at Food Line, so I'm like, let's go to Food Line or let's go to Walmart. Like, I don't want no doggone secondhand groceries. Like, I was just ranking on Aldi's. I'm like, y'all never go to Aldi's. But then fast forward, I'm like, baby, can we go to Aldi's, man? Like, I am 100% an Aldi person. Like, it's like Aldi, if you know, you know, man. Aldi's is crazy, bro. Like, I did a complete U-turn. I'm like, I remember, like, I think one time we even got into an argument because she was like, we need to go to Aldi's. I'm like, baby, I don't want to go to Aldi's. Stop talking to me about Aldi's. I'm not going to Aldi's. I don't like knockoff stuff. I want the real bread. I want the real. And now, bro, I'm like, I'm going to Aldi's, bro. Let me see the rent taxes whip your yeah, bro. I'm telling you, bro. Like I've been on here for about an hour, and I'd say about 30 minutes I've been talking about taxes and how nasty it is, bro. Taxes is nasty, dog. Like it's like, man, Trump is saying he's gonna remove the payroll tax. I don't know if he's gonna do that or not, but based on my experience with taxes, man, like taxes are nasty, bruh. That's when you add taxes and inflation, six figures ain't nothing, man. It really ain't. That's why, when I see people talking about six figures and $100,000, it's like an inside joke. When we hear people talk about that, we laugh, man. And it's like we're not laughing because, it's like a nose in the air type situation. We're laughing because it's like when that person actually gets there and they realize it don't go as far as they think that it's gonna go, then reality is gonna hurt, man. Like reality is gonna hurt a lot of people, man. Like I was looking at the numbers, $100,000 isn't even middle class anymore. Like, you know, um, you need to, like I said, you need to be making like $130,000 to be considered middle class because of inflation. So, and then you add in the fact that most houses you need to be able to put $10,000 down. If you live in paycheck to paycheck, not $10,000, I'm sorry, 10%. Most houses are $300,000 now, or 200 on the lower end. If you got to put down 10%, you do the math. And it's like, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, that good luck. But yeah, man. So again, I try not to leave on all doom and gloom. So, here's some positives that I've learned. Oh yeah, one more. You know, um, and this one hits home a lot. So I really want to make sure that I do say this. When you job hop and you jump, 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 eventually it's going to catch up to you. So, I feel like, and this is just me because I'm very particular and I'm very serious about my craft and what I do. I take work very seriously. So, I know that there's gaps in my knowledge as far as, things that I could be more well versed in or things that I could be better at because I've jumped so much. There's little intricacies and details that I've skipped over or I've missed, which is why I'm always pursuing certifications because I'm trying to fill those holes in my knowledge gaps because, I know, which is actually an asset because I end up getting a credential out of it, which verifies that I know. But, at the same time, it's like those are holes that you actually actively have to fill. So, when you job hop a lot, you got to compensate for the things that you miss. So I always encourage people to, figure out what the certifications are in your field, what you had to do to get those certifications. That way you can fill those holes of information that you're going to miss when you decide to job hop the way that I did. And then finally, at the end of all of this, the end of the story, I made all that money and I got laid off, y'all. So, again, it's just, and, you know, here's where I'm at, man. This is like my mentality. Um, Shout out to my guy Jay. He was asking the other day, just doing like a mental health check and a wellness check. And honestly, where I'm at in life and how I look at life, man, is I understand that life is a game. It's not a fun game, but it's a game. If you take it too seriously, then you miss out on enjoying the little things. You miss out on spending time with the people that you care about and the people that you love. So, yes, life is very serious, but at the same time, you can't really take yourself seriously. You have to enjoy life and you have to enjoy the moments and you have to stop and slow down sometimes. So, when bad things happen to me, which granted, a lot of bad things have happened within the past few years, I can give y'all a rundown. I I just lost. I told y'all I lost everything. I had to bounce back, start over. You know, um, I lost both my grandmas in the span of 2 years. 2022, my dad's mom died. 2023, my mom's mom died, and my mom's mom, that was like my second mom, man. So that one hurt. That was my grandma. That was like my second mom. And she died. I'm over here cracking up and stuff. But yeah, man. And then, the car breakdowns. My wife had pregnancy complications. I got laid off. Even right now, as we speak, the truck is in the shop, which we just bought in freaking June. Um, you know, I it's a lot, but I realized that, you know, it's all about reciprocity, I guess you could say. You can't jump from zero to $100,000 without hiccups, without things going wrong. The way that I look at it is, I did that in 4 short years and I made a lot of money. So, I can't complain when things go wrong and things go bad because, I was able to make money that, a lot of people don't see in their lifetimes. So, if I got to sit down for a couple months and I got to start over or whatever the case may be, I'm good, because I know what it feels like. And I understand that when you move fast and you move at certain paces, then things catch up to you eventually. And I feel like, at this moment, things kind of caught up, um, with buying a used truck, there's always a possibility that something's going to go wrong. Like I said, luckily we got a warranty, which is covering that. So, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. You know, Losing relatives and loved ones, like, yeah, it hurt that I lost my grandmother. I'm not going to sit here and act like it doesn't. But at the same time, I have a beautiful baby girl who came here in my life now. So, it's just, if you only focus on when things go wrong, then you don't appreciate the things that go right. Like, you know, and I'm not saying that you don't feel things or it doesn't matter, but what I'm saying is it's like if you play a sport, basketball, and you take basketball very seriously and you devote your life to basketball and you miss a shot, you don't stop playing basketball because you missed a shot or you lose a game. You don't stop playing basketball because you lost a game. You you understand, you review what went wrong, you go back, you adjust, you pivot, and then you get back out there, and that's kind of how I look at life. Things happen, things go wrong, but things also go right. I love life, just I think it's a saying called amor fati, which means a love of life. Like I'm at a point where I have just a love for life, just life itself. So I'm extremely grateful. When things go good, I'm grateful. When things go bad, I'm grateful. I'm appreciative because, again, I was walking the freaking food line, y'all. Like I had negative money. So, when things go wrong, it's like I know I'm not there again and I'll never be there again. Like even if financially I'm broke and I have nothing, I have experiences and I have wisdom. Let me see. That was some wisdom that passed away. Yeah, man. Wisdom doesn't disappear. So, if you take everything away and you got to start over, you still got the experiences, you still got the wisdom. So you never start from zero again. You just start again. You don't start over, you start again. So, if I lost everything today and I had to start again, I'd be able to do it again in less time because I have way more experience and I have way more knowledge under my belt. So I know, I'll be back. And I used to always wonder, like the Wolf of Wall Street, at the end of the movie, you see Jordan Belfort and he's in front of the class and he's trying to convince people to sell him the pen. And it's like, man, how did he bounce back after all of that stuff that happened? And it's like, once you get that knowledge and that wisdom, it doesn't go away. So losing it and getting back ain't that hard, because you didn't lose. You might have lost the material things, you might have lost the financial things, but you know, the memories and the lessons that you learned and the experiences, that stuff doesn't go away, man. So you can always get it back. Yeah, Kendra in the building. What's happening? So yeah, man. That's it. The good, the bad, the ugly. Like I said, if anybody wants to try to follow in my footsteps and climb the ladder that fast, and the best things I can tell you is be prepared for when things go wrong because it's definitely going to happen. And make sure that you're getting your certifications and your credentials and you're always learning. Like you understand, like, shoot, tomorrow I got a workshop on a Saturday. Like I got some learning to do because I'm just staying sharp, I'm staying competitive. And, when you like unemployment ain't where it's at because they are backed up. You can't even call them to check and see what's going on with your money. Like you can forget it. That's just that ship is sailed. If they stop paying, then it is what it is. You just gotta hope and pray that they one day decide to review your file and you can get your unemployment money. But that ain't where it's at, man. So if you got a job, you definitely should be grateful and appreciative for what you have. You know, comparison is the thief of joy. Everybody has to move at the beat of their own drum. Don't compare yourself to other people. Be grateful for where you at. J. Cole said it. There's no such thing as a life that's better than yours. That's the truth. You only see one side of the picture. You don't see the other side. You don't know what that person's going through, the trials, the tribulations. You don't know what they did to get to where they are. So, with that being said, I think I covered everything that I wanted to get across tonight. If you made it this far, if you're still in Yorktown right now, I appreciate you. Shout out to my girl Tara. Once again, happy birthday. Big 44, very special year. Um, Enjoy. I hope this year is nothing but positivity and success for you. And your I hope that your lowest lows are your highest highs. Let that sink in. I hope that made sense. But yeah, I'm out, man. I'm about to spend some time with my wife and level up on my kids and get ready for training tomorrow. So I'm gonna holler at y'all. See you on the next one. Mhm. Hey, hey. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good night.